Fire, pump, shoot. Ok. Xin chào tất cả các bạn, mình tên là Nhân và hiện tại thì mình đang ở tại trung tâm Simmery Track số 35 Lê Thánh Tôn, quận Nhất. Và hôm nay mình thì có mời một thầy dạy IELTS. Ở đây thầy tên là Benjamin Stone. Thầy sẽ chia sẻ với các bạn về những cái tips rất hay, rất là full ngầu dành cho IELTS Writing Task 1. Và Benjamin, you want to say something to the audience?
Sure. Xin chào. Hello. My name is Benjamin Stone, as you can see. And today I'll talk to you about IELTS Writing Task 1. I'm very excited to tell you some tips which you can use throughout your whole life.
Alright. Và bây giờ thì để không làm mất thời gian của các bạn thì mình sẽ vào ngay luôn bài giảng của thầy. Benjamin, I think I have no more position here, so I leave the stage for you and see you later.
Okay,
hey,
thank
have
you.
Fun.
Wish me luck. Okay, so let's begin. Firstly, IELTS, what does that even mean? So you can see, IELTS, the International English Language Testing System, and it's very important for your life. Why is it important? This is your gateway to a new world, to a new life. You can study abroad or even get a promotion. So there's 4 skills that we cover in IELTS. Firstly is reading, you have listening, speaking, that's coming slowly, and the last one is writing. Each is worth exactly the same, but today we're going to focus on writing. So in writing we have 2 tasks. And they are task 1 and task 2. Task 1 is a descriptive-based essay on a certain diagram. And task 2 is more of a discussion-based essay on a particular topic. But as I said, today we're going to focus on task 1. So what can you expect to do in task 1? How long does it have to be? At least 150 words, which it's not too bad, it's not too long. And how much time do you have? Roughly 20 minutes, which again, is not a lot of time, but I hope after today, you can do it. So what kind of diagram can you get? So let's take a look. The first one, like this, is a line graph. Second one we have is a bar chart. Next one we have is a pie chart. It should look like this. Another one will be the table, which I'm sure you've seen before. And lastly, we have a process diagram. There are other ones. You could have a map that is pretty rare, and you'd be quite unlucky if you got it, to be honest. So, the structure. For writing an essay, like every speech, it needs to have a good structure. So we start with an introduction. The introduction is just a couple of sentences. Next we have body paragraphs, where we have just 2 body paragraphs. So first, let's deal with the introduction. So there are 2 very important parts to it, which are essential. Firstly, we have to paraphrase the title. And secondly, we give an overview of the diagram. These will just be 2 sentences, which is hopefully is simple enough. So first, paraphrase the title. So what does that mean? Well, to paraphrase means to rewrite something, but we change the vocabulary, but not the grammar. This is absolutely necessary in writing, but also in listening, speaking, and reading. So it's a very important skill. So let's take a look at how we can do that. This is my example, which I'm going to use for the whole of today. This is actually from a recent IELTS exam last year. So these are 2 pie charts, and you can see at the top is the title. The charts show the main method of transport of people traveling to one university in 2004 and 2009. So first, we want to find the key words. So what are the key words in this sentence? We highlight these ones. The main method of transport, people traveling, one university. university and the 2 years. So these keywords, we want to try and change them to something different. And the way that we do that is we think about synonyms. So I'm going to show you some synonyms we can use for these words. The first one we have is main method of transport. So you can see how I've changed this to the foremost means of transportation. And these mean exactly the same thing. So we're going to do that again for the next 3 keywords. We have people traveling, so it's people commuting. We have one university, we have a higher education facility. We have 2004 and 2009, so it's over a 5-year period. Now these are not the only synonyms, obviously. There's many, many more you can have, and that's the beauty of it. This is your chance to show off how clever you are. So, this is our title again, and this is how we can now write it. That the charts show the foremost means of transportation, people commuting to a higher education facility over a 5-year period. But wait, we're not done yet. Cool. Okay, so we've almost finished. There's just a little bit more to do. As you can see, we say the charts show, it's kind of boring, so we want to change that. So I'll say it again. It's up here, and this is good. We're going to change it. And there's a few popular ways that we can do this. We can say like this: the given pie charts illustrate, demonstrate, or depict. Now depict is my personal favorite because I think that it's the most academic. So that's the one that I would choose. But any of them will be fine. So let's look at how the title is going to look now. Given pie charts depict the foremost means of transportation for people commuting to a higher education facility over a 5-year period. Now that's our first sentence done, and I think that's going to be very good. But of course, remember this, no matter what the graph is, you just want to use the same form, and it's always going to be a paraphrase title which starts. It's very important to remember that. Okay, so we're going to move on to giving an overview now. An overview is absolutely necessary. There is no way that you can get a good score without including an overview. That's for sure. So it's really important. And to do this, we have to look for the main trend or trends which are in the chart. Now that's not always easy to do, but today we're going to try and help you to make that easier. Important to remember that you don't include detailed data here, okay? No facts or figures from the chart, you just need an overall picture of what is happening. As I said here, something overall. So let's take a look back at the pie charts and try to identify what is happening. So here are the pie charts, and there are 2 things which really stand out to me. One is that the car, 51%, that's a huge proportion. Definitely will include that. And also it changes to 28%. That's a big change. So of course we're going to write about that. Secondly, we have the bus, just 33% in the first one, but it rises to 46% in the second one. So you will note the bus is now higher than the car. And this is what we need to report on as the overview. So to recap that, the big change is for the car and the bus. In 2004, the car was the most popular means of transportation, whereas in 2009, the bus was the most popular. That is our overview. All we have to do now is write it in a much more academic way, and then we're good to go. So writing the overview. Some useful phrases again that we can use. One is in general, another one very similar, generally. Third option could be overall, or it is noticeable that, as can clearly be seen. And you will notice any of these are always applicable. Any of them are fine, and they are all good choices. Just note this, the overview is typically going to be written in the present tense. Sometimes it might be the future, but typically it will be the present tense. It's important to remember that. So let's take a look again. How's it going to look? Maybe I can write it like this. It is noticeable that the car was the prominent mode of transport in 2004, whereas the bus was most popular in 2009. And generally, this is what we saw from the pie chart. So this is what's going to be in our overview. Notice as well, there's no data. I have the words prominent, meaning it's dominant, it's most important. Secondly, most popular. So we've demonstrated that it was the car in one year, and then it changed to the bus. And that is how we write our overview. So, in this instant, it's actually quite easy to spot the overview. We had some really big numbers going on. But that's not always true. When it seems that everything changes just a little bit, maybe it's hard to give the whole overview picture, we can write something like this. In general, all categories shown in the diagram fluctuate to varying degrees. And this demonstrates that they all change just a little bit. That's what fluctuate means. It changes. So this we can use with a lot of different ones. Now we can go on to describe the changes in what will be the body paragraphs. So just before we move on, we're going to have a recap. This is how the whole introduction would look in just 2 sentences. So you can see we just link them together. It's a good length. That's all you need. It doesn't need to be any longer than that. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the body. So the body paragraphs. We need to be more specific in our detail now. Before we were general, now we need to be specific and detailed. Remember the question that we are answering. We have to summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features and make comparisons where relevant. So let's focus on that. Main features. Remember, we're not talking about everything here, just the main features. So what does that mean? Main features are the highest values and the biggest changes if it goes really high up or really far down. That's what we need to know about. Okay? Also true, making comparisons is essential. Luckily, we have 2 pie charts, so we can easily compare between the 2 of them, how the categories have changed. And we're going to dedicate 1 paragraph to each pie chart. This way, it's very clear for us to make comparisons and to highlight the main features. So I just want to reiterate that. We want to include the main features, not all the features, and we need to make comparisons. No comparisons is no good. So when we report about these main features, there is an order of significance, order of importance. So let's look at this pie chart again. And the order of significance will be the highest value down to the lowest value. So you can see the highest value was 51% for the car, followed by the bus at 33% and bicycle at 9%. The other 2, for the train, for walking, very small, very insignificant, so we can put them at the end. It's not so important. So here's the first body paragraph. There are some useful phrases that we can use to start with. For example, as can be seen, it is clear that, the most striking feature is, it is quite apparent that. Again, any of these are useful, any of these you can start with. So before you start writing, one thing you definitely have to do is check the date. Reason why? If it is in the past, you need to write in the past tense. If it's in the present, you change the tense. And if it's the future, again, you change the tense. Very important. You don't want to get all of your grammar wrong in the whole essay. Here in the pie chart it is 2004, today is 2018, therefore we have to use the past tense. So that's what we're going to use in my writing later. Okay, so I'm going to choose one of those phrases from before and describe firstly the most significant piece of data, like so. So the most striking feature in 2004 belonged to the car as it was selected by over half of the commuters. You may also note that I continue to vary my vocabulary too. Vocabulary variety will only increase your score, and that's what we're after. We want to increase our score as high as possible. So using a lot of different words shows to the examiner how intelligent you are, and that is the purpose of this test. You only have one chance, so you have to make it as good as possible. Just make sure though that you understand the word properly before you use it. It's no good searching for some academic word that you don't understand yet. If you use it inappropriately, it will lower your score. So make sure you only choose words that you know, that you understand, and that you can use effectively. Otherwise, don't include it and don't use it. So, we've written about the car. Now we're going to continue in our order of significance, which we had earlier. And we can write like this. So following this, the bus was the second most popular mode, with exactly a third choosing it. Oppositely, only 9% elected to ride their bicycle to the university. Moreover, there were insignificant proportions for train passengers and pedestrians, with 3% and 4% respectively. So what I've done here is I've described it in order, from the bus to the bicycle to the train and walking. So I'm going to highlight for you some useful terms and phrases which I've used and you can also use. Examiners want to see these cohesive devices. They want to see that there's variety in your vocabulary. They want to see that you can use a whole range of structures and academic terms. That will impress them. That will get you a higher score. So I'll put up again the paragraph that we were using. I'm going to highlight to you some words that I've used which you can also use. So in red, we have some conjunctions, like following this and moreover. In yellow, here we have shows a contrast, oppositely. And that's going to be very good. The reason why it's a contrast, the other two are very big. This one is much smaller, just 9%. Lastly, in green, we have like commuters, we have passengers, we have pedestrians. These green words are synonyms from the pie chart. Again, instead of just saying people, we're saying commuters, passengers, pedestrians. These are all different words. They're all almost the same meaning. And that way, we are showing the examiner again, we know this vocabulary and we can use it in our writing, and it's very important to remember. Okay, so let's look at a second body paragraph. Now in this case, it's a little bit different. First, we have to see how the categories have changed from the first pie chart to the second pie chart. Remember, we're looking for not only high values, we're also looking for big changes. So let's take a look at those pie charts again. We have the two here. So there's 5 categories, and let's look how each one changes. Firstly, you can see the car from 51% down to 28%. The bus starts at 33% but goes up to 46%. And we can see that it also becomes the largest figure. The third difference is from the bicycle, from 9% almost doubling to 16%. We also have walking, just increases by 2%, and the train just by 1%. So those two, not so important. The first 3, though, are significant, are big changes. So let's recap that. There are 3 main changes. The car almost halves, and now is only the second most popular mode. The bus increases by 13%, and is now the most dominant mode of transport. These are very, very big changes. That's why we have to report them first. Thirdly, the bicycle almost doubles to 16%. Also a significant change. The other 2 are not so significant, so we're going to mention them right at the end, which is that walking increased by 2% and a train increased by 1%. So remember, the question told us to make comparisons where relevant. So we're going to begin with the car and we're going to make some comparisons. 2009. there was a marked decline in the proportion of people choosing to take a car as it dropped to 28%. So you can see I've used two phrases, marked decline and dropped, which make comparisons to the previous paragraph. And it's clear 28% is lower than a half, like 50%. So we have to use words like this, like a marked decline and dropped. Shows the examiner we know it's gone down and we're highlighting this big difference. It's always important too to be accurate when you're quoting data from the chart. If maybe you don't want to say it's exactly 28%, we can say approximately 30%. But, like I said, if you can see the data, you can see it's 28%, then say it's 28%. It would be much better. Okay, so now I'm going to continue with the rest of the paragraph. And again, I'm going to highlight to you the useful terms, the same kind of colors that we used before. So you can see it here. We've got, in contrast, commuters selecting the bus significantly rose by 13%, which made it the prominent means of transportation in 2009. Likewise, those opting to ride a bike almost doubled to 16%. Lastly, the percentages for those on foot and taking a train also slightly increased to 6% and 4% in turn. And you can see here how I've highlighted the words which again you can use. Paragraph starts in contrast. Again, that's a clear word to showing in contrast because we are comparing the first pie chart to the second pie chart, and that's a clear difference. Also, in red, we have some more conjunction words, like likewise, like lastly. These are just linking our sentences together, helping the whole paragraph have much more of a flow to it, and makes it link together much nicer. Lastly, in green, we have words like significantly rose, prominent, almost doubled, and in turn, highly, slightly increased. These terms in green indicate comparisons, indicate changes from the first pie chart. You'll also note, I have not repeated many words either. We have words like commuters, again, but we have opting to ride a bike. We have on foot instead of pedestrians. So we're using different words. Again, we don't want to repeat ourselves. We want to show that we have this whole range of vocabulary, this whole lexicon to choose from. So we want to choose the best words that we know and to use a big variety of them. So I'm going to recap to you the body, and here are the two body paragraphs laid out in front of you, like this. So you can see here they're both good lengths, about equal length, 2 or 3 sentences each. And these clearly show not only the significant parts, the main features, also it makes comparisons. Therefore, we have answered the question completely. And on this slide, I have the whole essay for you. So you'll note we have introduction, we have 2 body paragraphs, word count is 159 words, so that's perfect. We're over 150 words, we haven't written too much, we've covered the main features, we've made comparisons. So everything the examiner has asked for us, we have done. So we should get a good score, I hope. So just before we finish, I want to highlight some common mistakes to you. These are always true. Firstly, students like to give a reason or an explanation for the data. But remember, the question only asks you to select and report the data, not to provide an explanation. So you just need to say what you see. Don't waste time with an explanation, you don't need to. In fact, if you do that, you're wrong. There's no need for it. You say what you see, you describe the data, what changes, what doesn't, and that's it. Secondly, not including an overview. A lot of students may forget this because in the exam room it's very stressful and you might forget to do 1 or 2 things. But please do not forget to do an overview. As I said before, an overview will get you a higher score. If you do not have it, you cannot get a higher score, no matter how good the rest of your writing is. Thirdly, not enough words. You have to write at least 150 words. Now that might seem like a lot, but if you've done it well enough, you should get to that target. And if you're unsure it's your number, then just count them if you have time. But really, you have to write over 150 words, otherwise again, your score will suffer. So fourthly is using the incorrect prepositions and incorrect vocabulary. This is a very common mistake. If you want to get a higher score, you have to avoid this. So ensure you know collocations. Collocations are words that go together. So when you learn a new verb, remember to learn the verb with its preposition that matches. That way you'll remember that they go together and you won't forget the preposition which is needed. In addition, don't forget the meaning of the vocabulary and be accurate. If you use the wrong word in the wrong place, no matter how academic it is, you're wrong and you won't sound better. In fact, your essay will sound worse, right? So you have to use the correct vocabulary in the correct place. If you don't know any super academic words, it's okay. It's better to be correct than to be wrong. So, we have finished, but first, I was going to tell you, there are a few ways that we can edit and adapt the essay that I've written. Obviously, it depends on the type of diagram you describe and how the data is going to look, but the structure will remain the same. So there's 8 key aspects that I want you to remember. 1, introduction. We want to paraphrase the title and give an overview. This will just be the general pattern of what is happening. Sometimes it's hard to spot it, sometimes it's easier, as in today's example. 2, you want to be specific, only in the body paragraphs, not in the introduction. In the body paragraphs, you want to quote the data frequently. Your essay should be so good that I can read it and I can draw the chart. That's how good you want to be able to describe it. 4th, only select and write about the main features. Then write about the order of significance. Okay? You don't need to select about everything, just the most important parts, and make sure that it is in order. Again, this will only help to increase your score. 5, we've got to make comparisons about similarities and differences as often as is necessary. Like we saw in the question title, you have to make comparisons. Therefore, the more you make, the better your score will be. 6, vocabulary variety is very important. The more vocabulary you use, the higher your score will be. But as I said before, make sure you understand the word. Don't use a word that you don't know the meaning of. Also, grammar, very important. It's worth 25% of your score for writing. So don't just use simple sentences. Use some complex sentences. Use good linking, cohesive devices like I've showed you. This will only serve to increase your score. Lastly, a conclusion is not necessary. In task 2, sure. But in task 1, we don't need to have one, so you don't need to include one. So thank you very much for watching. Until the end, hopefully. I hope that you've learned a lot of invaluable lessons today about IELTS Writing Task 1 and that you can continue to use these in the future. If you have any more questions or comments you would like to make, you can come and find me at Senior Retrack, or you can leave us a comment below. I look forward to reading those comments or to seeing you soon. So I hope to see you again very soon. Thank you very much for paying attention.
Alright, hello everyone, I'm back. Như mình nói thì thầy mình sẽ không có đẹp trai bằng thầy Benjamin ở đây đâu, cho nên thôi các bạn cũng tạm chấp nhận vậy ha. Okay, we have just listened to a very meaningful presentation from you, and me also as a teacher, I also learned a lot of useful information from you, and that's very useful for the students and audience. They can improve their pen score with the IELTS examination, and in particular the IELTS Writing Task 1. And thank you very much for your useful sharing with us.
Thank you, you're welcome.
And now I will have the the audience to summarize some main point from your presentation in Vietnamese.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Rồi, bây giờ mình sẽ đi tới cái phần tổng kết lại những cái ý chính của thầy Benjamin vừa mới trình bày bằng tiếng Việt. Các bạn lưu ý là trong phần thi IELTS của mình sẽ có các cái phần chính sau đây. Thứ nhất là phần giới thiệu, mình gọi là introduction. Tiếp theo là mình sẽ có một cái đoạn overview và mình sẽ có khoảng 2 đoạn cho phần thân bài, đó là body paragraph. Thì trong phần introduction các bạn nhớ là kỹ năng chính trong phần này đó là paraphrasing. Và paraphrasing là cái gì? Thì tức nghĩa là mình sẽ chuyển đổi các cái câu, các cái từ trong các cái câu hỏi của phần đề bài bằng cách là sử dụng những cái từ đồng nghĩa để sao cho các cái cách diễn tả của mình không lặp lại những cái ý mà trong phần đề bài người ta đã đưa ra. Tiếp theo là phần overview. Thì overview chính là một cái đoạn văn mà các bạn dùng để đưa ra những cái ý chính mà các bạn thấy được rõ nét nhất trong phần biểu đồ. Ví dụ như là các bạn thấy các cái trends hoặc là các cái một trend hoặc là nhiều trends, các cái data, cái nào là highest, cái nào là lowest. Và các bạn lưu ý là trong phần overview mình sẽ không đưa ra bất cứ cái ví dụ gì về phần số liệu. No data, no example, no years for overview. That's right.
That is right.
Okay. And tiếp theo mình sẽ chuyển sang đoạn phần thân bài. Phần thân bài thì chính là dựa trên những cái nét chính mà các bạn đã thấy trong phần overview, các bạn sẽ làm rõ nó ra và cho thêm các cái ví dụ minh họa. Ví dụ như trong phần overview bạn thấy cái nào cao nhất, cái nào thấp nhất, thì bây giờ cao nhất số liệu là gì, thấp nhất là số liệu là gì, mình sẽ minh họa ra. Ok ha. Lúc này thì các bạn sẽ sử dụng các cấu trúc so sánh, các cái comparison structure, và bên cạnh đó các bạn sẽ thể hiện những cái nét tương phản, những cái mà similarity hay là các cái contrast mà các bạn nhìn thấy. Và các bạn cố gắng là các bạn sử dụng các cái từ synonyms khác nhau để mục đích là mình mở rộng cái từ vựng, mình vary cái vocabulary resource của mình để mà giám khảo họ thấy được là mình sử dụng từ phong phú. Đó là các cái ý chính mà mình đã tổng kết lại được từ phần trình bày của thầy Ben. Cảm ơn các bạn rất nhiều. Và bây giờ mình sẽ chuyển sang phần cuối cùng của buổi livestream hôm nay, đó là phần trả lời các câu hỏi mà các bạn đã comment ở trên Facebook. Alright, Mr. Ben, now we will move to question and answer.
Excellent.
I have just collected some questions that the audience commented on Facebook, and are you ready to answer everything?
Yes, absolutely.
Right. Absolutely, we'll try. Okay, let me see. The first question I want to say, okay, this question I think is very informative one. All right. How can I get information from, how can I get information about IELTS exam schedule?
Yeah, it's a very good question, and I often get asked that a lot as a teacher. And of course, you can always ask me. If you come to CMEO, sign up to a class, and I'll let you know. If that's not possible, you can always go online. There's plenty of information. Just search it in Google, search for your local city, of course, Ho Chi Minh City, and it will be available for you.
That's right. Okay, the number two. Okay, let me see. All right. This is something related to preparation before the IELTS exam. What should I prepare to take IELTS exam?
Well, there's a lot.
It's a big question, right?
It's a big question. There's a lot you have to prepare, of course. As the old saying goes, practice makes perfect. You know, it might be boring, it might sound dull, but taking practice tests really will help you. IELTS test is different to English. It's not just English. It's an examination. So it's very good to take practice tests. It also helps to read some official newspapers from America, from England or Australia, or any other country like that. You know, all of these will help your vocabulary, help your grammar structure, and of course, talk, speak with each other. When you're hanging out with your friends, don't just speak Vietnamese, speak English. And lastly, come to CMEO, sign up for a class, and we will help you improve your score.
All right. Okay. Next question will about the IELTS learning strategy. Okay. Should I take IELTS preparation courses or learn on my own?
Yeah, of course. A lot of people like learning on their own, and it's true. It can help you because you can be completely flexible. The only downside to that is you may not know what your weaknesses are. And it's always beneficial to have a teacher who can guide you, who can help with your weaknesses and improve them to make them your strengths. So don't get me wrong, you should study alone. You should have a lot of independent practice, but without a doubt, a teacher will help direct you, will increase your focus on what is your weakness, rather than just focusing on your strengths. So maybe striking a balance is the ideal way.
Okay, so the next question is about what will happen on the test day. Okay, that is to say, do all listening, speaking, reading, and writing tests take place on one day?
Yeah, actually a lot of my students worry about this. The truth is, it can happen all on one day, but it's not necessary. It is up to you, depends on your choice. If you want to, you can take it all on one day, but you can choose to split it if that's more beneficial to you. And I would probably recommend you to do that, because then you're not so stressed on one day, and maybe you can relax as well. But definitely, it's up to you. It's not 100% one way or the other.
All right. Okay, so far we have gone through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so many questions I don't remember, but nothing relevant to the main topic today about writing. So let's find a question that related to writing idea. Okay, can we change? Let me see. Okay, I think this is the last question. This question is, can I choose the questions to write in the writing test?
Yeah, a lot of people want to do that. Maybe you get a very difficult topic, you don't want to write about it. Too bad. There is no choice. No, you are given 2 questions. One is task 1, and one is task 2. Unfortunately, you cannot change those questions. You can write in any order you want. You can write task 2 first, task 1 second. That doesn't matter, but no, unfortunately, you cannot change the questions. My recommendation, however, is to write your task 2 first. Task 2 is worth twice as much as task 1. Therefore, it's better to spend more time on it and spend less time on task 1. However, of course, both are very important, and hopefully after today, you can know how to write task 1 faster and better.
Ở đây thì vẫn còn rất là nhiều các câu hỏi liên quan đến IELTS Task 1 và IELTS Writing Task 2. Và chúng ta không có đủ thời gian để có thể trả lời hết tất cả các câu hỏi của các bạn. Nhưng các bạn cũng đừng quá lo lắng. Bởi vì vào ngày 24 tháng 3, chúng ta có một cái buổi workshop về chủ đề IELTS Writing Task 2. Các bạn có thể đăng ký và đến tham gia với chúng tôi để lắng nghe được những lời khuyên hiệu quả từ các chuyên gia về IELTS Writing. Chi tiết là vào lúc 8 giờ 30 đến 11 giờ ngày 24 tháng 3 năm 2018. Cảm ơn các bạn đã theo dõi livestream của chúng tôi ngày hôm nay và hẹn gặp lại các bạn vào buổi workshop sắp tới nhé. Xin cảm ơn. Thank you, Mr. Bang, one more time.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure. You're welcome.